Hey, Spring Arbor students. Welcome to week 4 for MBA 602 and MBA 694. Hope your week is going well. This is the midway point. This week is halfway through. Let's talk about 602 for just a moment. This week we're going to start into looking at chapters 8 and chapter 9 about sample sizes and then inferences about population means compared to sampling means. And we're going to be talking about confidence intervals and how to calculate those. And then in chapter 9, we're looking at hypothesis testing. Let me give you some advice on how to read these chapters. In fact, any chapter in these stats book or any other of the books that you have in your upcoming courses in the MBA program. Here's a strategy that I use that you may find helpful as well. When you come to a chapter, don't read it front to back immediately. Instead, read the intro, get a feel for what the chapter is about, jump to the back of the chapter, look at the summary, and take a look at some of the summary, take a look at some of the examples in the back. Review the key terms and the key phrases. There's usually a list of them. And in the stats book, they're actually at the end of the chapter. And in the version that I have, which is electronic, you can actually click on those terms and it'll take you back in up to the chapter and you can look at them. So become familiar with the terminology before you attempt to tackle the whole thing from front to back. And then read the chapter. And it may take a couple of readings, frankly. Some of the material this week especially, and probably for the rest of this course in 602, is pretty thick stuff. And but that's okay. You guys can get through it. You're students in the master's program. You got this. Okay, you can do this. Don't let the math intimidate you. There's a lot of extra helps at the end of the chapters about how to use Excel to help you with those calculations. So don't worry if you're not a math whiz. Follow the formulas, understand the terminology, understand the concepts, and you're going to do just fine. Let's see, also about 602, make sure you're watching those videos. Read the chapter using that chapter strategy I just told you about, reading the front and the back, and then read the chapter. But then also check out those videos. And I would recommend doing those after you read the chapters. They'll give you a little bit better feel for before you take on those videos, because the videos are somewhat, they're not they're a little more in detail in some ways, but they assume that you know a lot before you get into them. So read the chapters and then take on some of those videos. Okay, let's talk about 694 for a moment. This week in 694, we're going to be studying human subjects, and in particular, how to work with what we call human subjects when we're doing research. It's very important when you do this kind of research that you care for the person that you're interviewing or that is part of your sample pool or your sample study. Okay. And at most universities, and this would include Spring Arbor as well, you cannot do any data collection with people, okay, until two things happen. Number one, you have to go through the training from the National Institutes of Health about human subjects review. And that's part of this week's material as well, is to get that training. But that has to happen, so you have to have the certificate. And then number two, you can't do any research, again, until you have the permission from the university to do so. That comes in the form of an approval of the Internal Review Board application that you're going to put in. But that doesn't happen until another term. It doesn't happen this term, happens next term. Okay, so a little bit about the human subjects training. In your syllabus, the electronic version of your syllabus, if you go to it, there's a link for week 4. It says NIH Training. Okay, click on that link. It'll take you to the National Institutes of Health training website. And you're going to have to log on, I think, like the first time. And it's all free, so it doesn't cost you anything. But at the end of the online training, there'll be a little bit of a quiz and that sort of thing. And then you print out a certificate or you save the copy of a PDF. Okay. That PDF file, that certificate, has to be uploaded into Blackboard. It's part of this week's grading requirements. Okay, so you must do the NIH training, and you must complete it, and you must get a certificate and then upload it to Blackboard. What else about this week? Yeah, so just a reminder, I know that some of you are antsy to get going on data collection. Do not do that yet. Okay, I just want to stress again, do not collect data yet because you don't have permission as a researcher from Spring Arbor University to go ahead and do that. We have to get the NIH training certificate complete, and then next term we have to get your IRB complete and submitted and approved. Okay, so again, no research, no data collection as part of your project until you get those two things done. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be talking to people and understanding the environment better, but just the formal data collection, doing interviews with people, you can't do any of that. Okay, so if you are doing that, stop. All right. Let's see. Oh, a note about the essay this week. So I know essays are it's a reflective essay, so I want you to feel free to use first person. Don't overdo it, obviously. But it is a scholarly work. So while it is an essay and it can be first person, it is a scholarly work. So you got a cover page, reference list, cite scholarly references, and write it in APA style. And because I'm going to grade it exactly how I have been per the syllabus and the writing rubric that's in the back of the syllabus. So, okay, I think that's it. Now listen, I've talked to about half of you one-on-one in the Zoom meeting, and there's about half of you left that have not made an attempt to reach out to me and set up a time. So I encourage you to do that. Let's get your research project on track. And listen, if you want to talk to some of your other classmates, I think they'll give you good reviews about the time that we spend together in a Zoom meeting to kind of craft your research and scope it, make sure it's working, it's going to work out well. So I think it's worth your time. That's not a requirement, but I would strongly encourage you to get with me and set up a Zoom meeting in the next couple of weeks here. All right, thanks. Have a great day.